Floor in Orlando, we knew we would be talking about Michael Jordan versus LeBron James in the GOAT conversation. LeBron addressed it himself with our Rachel Nichols. Let's listen to the King.
The debates can happen. Y'all can talk about it. I'll talk about it with my guys when we at home, our friends and all that stuff, but I'm not going to give it to y'all. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to fall for it. You guys know how much I love Michael Jordan. I wear number 23 because of Michael Jordan. When I first got my first pair of Jordans, you couldn't tell me nothing. So y'all can do the debates. Y'all can figure that
out. Challenge accepted, LeBron James. He wants us to figure it out. He wants us to have the debate, so we will. Now, you and I have been arguing about this passionately for years and years now. But what we decided to do is put emotions aside and decide on some criteria that could measure the GOAT. And here are the 5 criteria that you picked. Scoring titles, NBA titles, MVPs, Finals MVPs, and Defensive Player of the Year. Why did you pick these 5 categories?
They establish dominance and they're not emotional. We're not upgrading or downgrading teammates. We're not talking about the number of teams or coaches somebody played for. We're talking about who's the greatest basketball player of all time. And in order to get to that, you have to hit those 5 marks. If you're winning championship, if you're winning Finals MVP, if you're winning scoring titles, if you're winning Defensive Player of the Year, if you're winning those awards, now all of a sudden you go into a different echelon of all-time greatness. And this criteria was not available clearly earlier when the NBA was established, but that is a great metric for everybody out there when you want to have the conversation about who's the GOAT. Take those 5 categories and slot the players in, not the other way around.
And that is exactly what we are going to do here today. Now, one thing's interesting about these 5 categories is no human being has ever achieved all 5 in a single season. However, there are 4 people that have achieved 4 of the 5 GOAT criteria in a single season. Michael Jordan has done it 4 times. We have Shaq, Hakeem, and Kareem. Jalen.
Since they've been keeping stats, these are the greatest individual seasons of all time. Those terrific performers, and look, was a big man's game. 3 of those 4 are centers. Notice that, and they did it each one time. Michael Jordan, a 6'6" guard, did it 4 times.
That's important to point out. And as you said, this is just a single season where one human being has achieved 4 of the 5 GOAT criteria. Now, we're going to do an exercise here. Again, that was a single season. What if we opened it up to people that have achieved 4 of the 5 GOAT criteria over their entire careers? You would think a floodgate of great players would come in, but it's only 5 more people. Kobe, Wilt, Durant, James, and Robinson. Your thoughts?
This is where you start talking about some of the most explosive players that ever played in the NBA. And think about it. Of this criteria now, only 9 basketball players to ever wear the Jerry West logo on their chest have been able to achieve 4 of these 5 categories at some point in their career. At some point in their career. That is outstanding for the players involved.
It's also important to point out that players like Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell didn't have the opportunity to win some of these awards. But, Jalen, there's one human being standing on this planet over the course of history that has actually achieved all 5 of the GOAT criteria over the course of their career. And it's not going to be a surprise exactly who that is. That is Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But it's not just the fact that he did it, it's the quantity of times that he's done it. Take a look at this, Jalen. Your thoughts?
Sometimes I dream that he is me. Not only did he achieve all 5 at some point of his career, Jacoby, it ain't like Defensive Player of the Year where he just did it once. He was the scoring champion 10 times. In 6 of those years, his team won the championship. The scoring champion who also won the championship that year. Michael Jordan was the Finals MVP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. His team won the championship. That means each time he was the dominant force. Oh, also he won 5 MVPs. And so when you start talking about the GOAT Michael Jordan has been able to achieve things in the statistical era that are just unmatched, and the volume and the quantity is outstanding.
Absolutely. And we both know that there's no perfect way to decide this. And that's why it gets debated so heated in barbershops and conversations over time. And one thing that's important.